the Intermediate Championship gets underway on Tuesday evening in Eton, when it hosts the meeting of Callaghan and Athay. These two sides have enjoyed contrasting fortunes in the opening two rounds. Callaghan have full points following victories over Bruff and Palace Green. Athay, meanwhile, have no points. They have suffered two defeats to Glen and to Mungreth St. Paul's. Now, Athay were very, very unlucky last year in that they finished on 6 points with Mungreth and with Glen. And because there was a walkover in the group, there had to be a three-way playoff for two teams to advance. And unfortunately, from an Athay point of view, they were the team that missed out. Now, they haven't picked it up yet this year. Time is running out. This is the third game in the group. Callaghan seem to be going well. There's a pep in their step, and I'm going for Callaghan in this one. On Tuesday night, there are two big games, and I suppose none bigger than the meeting of two unbeaten sides, Rd3, who are top of the pile at the moment, and the team immediately below them on scoring difference, St. Patrick's. Now, this is the ideal start for two clubs that are gunning to get back to senior ranks. Rd3 lost their senior status at the end of 2017. St. Patrick's lost it at the end of 2019. They both have full points. St. Patrick's were victors over Athay and over Palace Green. Rd3 were victors over Athay and Bruff. And it was the manner in which Athay defeated Bruff, that Rd3 defeated Bruff, that they sent out a signal. First of all, that they want to regain their status as quickly as possible, and secondly, that they want to go one better than last year when they were narrowly defeated by Galway in the county final. This is going to be a very interesting game. You will have the youthful exuberance of Rd3, who play open football, and you will have a St. Patrick's side that are seasoned and experienced campaigners, having been a number of years at senior ranks. I'm going for Rd3 to win out on this occasion. On Tuesday, St. John's Park in Hospital will host a meeting of, I suppose, what can be best described as companions in distress, Palace Green and Bruff, who after two rounds are both pointless. It is a bit of a surprise, I think, that Palace Green at this point are pointless. They won 4 games in the group last year, topped the group, but were eventually beaten in the semi-final by Galway in a very, very close contest. Bruff, meanwhile, it appears that it is more of the same. They failed to win a game last year in the group stages and only preserved status when they defeated Castlemahon in the relegation playoff final. Now, Palace Green have lost both games, but they have lost to two sides that are on full points, Callaghan and St. Patrick's. Bruff, meanwhile, have also lost their 2 games, again to teams with full points, Callaghan and top of the table, Rd3. This is going to be a very, very interesting contest. Bruff received a bit of a boost in the last fortnight when they won Division 4 of the league and got their hands on some silverware, and it certainly will be a boost. And they have struggled for the last couple of years, mainly due to injury and unavailability of good players. having seen that Division 4 final, I think they're back to near full strength, and whether it will be good enough for Palace or not, I'm doubtful. I think it will be close, but I'm going for Palace to win this one. The action in Group 2 gets underway on Thursday evening with the meeting of clubs from the opposite ends of the county, Galtee Gales and Mount Collins in Kevin Long Park in Fina. These sides have enjoyed contrasting fortunes so far. Neither side made it to the knockout stages last year. Galtee Gales have made a very bright start. And you will recall Galtee Gales were county junior champions in 2017, and after which they had that marathon game with Kerry champions Drummond Pierce's back on their own patch. They found life a bit difficult back at intermediate level last year. They will have learned from it. They have started in very, very promising form this year. A good win over newly promoted Kildimo Palace Kennery in the first round, and a draw with Mungret St. Paul's in the second round. Mount Collins are repeating what they did last year, got off to a very, very poor and alarmingly bad start. They have suffered defeats already to Mungret St. Paul's and to their neighbours Glen. They were in a similar situation 12 months ago, and guess what? They kick-started a run to safety when they met Galtee Gales. They had a surprise win over Galtee Gales. It was the win that started Mount Collins' survival battle. It was the win that effectively ended Galtee Gales' chances of progressing to the knockout stages in their first year back. I have no doubt that will be uppermost in the Gales' minds, and I'm going for the Gales to inflict more misery on Mount Collins on Thursday night. Forgive me for saying, but I suppose the tie of the round in Group 2 this week is on Friday night, with the meeting of Gerald Griffins and Mungret St. Paul's in Mick Neville Park. In the 2 rounds to date, these clubs have only lost 1 point between them. Gerald Griffins sit top of the table on 4 points after wins over Glen and Kildimo Palace Kennery. Mungret St. Paul's had a win over Mount Collins and a division of the spoils with Galtee Gales. In their first year back at senior level in 2017, Gerald Griffins had the perfect group phase in which they won their 5 games out of 5. They had to settle for much less last year. They just picked up 2 wins and a draw in the 5 games, but it was enough to get to the knockout stages. And they seem to be back in business and going in the right direction this year. And apart from the 2 wins in the championship, they scored a very notable win recently when they won Division 3 of the Football League, defeating senior side Ballylanders in the final. Mungret St. Paul's, as I mentioned earlier about Galway and Garryspillane, are trying to keep footballs and slithers in the air at the same time and compete at the much higher level now, of course, at Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship and also at Intermediate Football Championship. But they will be pleased with the start that they have made to date. It's going to be a very good game. It's certainly an appetizer for anyone that wants a game of football on Friday evening in Mick Neville Park. I'm going for Gerald Griffins to win it. The action in the group will conclude on Tuesday evening when Askeaton is the venue for the meeting of Kildimo Pallaskenry and Glen. Kildimo Pallaskenry are the newcomers to intermediate football this year, having won the Junior Football Championship last year, and I suppose indeed having given a decent account of themselves in the Munster Club Championship. But it hasn't worked out so far at intermediate level this year. They've lost substantially, lost heavily to Galtee Gales in the first round, who were their predecessors as junior champions in 2017. But they put up a very, very good show against Gerald Griffins in round 2, which should augur well for them. Now, they were involved in one of the league finals recently. They went down in the Division 4 final after extra time to Bruff. So they will be in a state of readiness to pick up for what for them is a vital game. Now, Glen have already, they have a win over Mount Collins, but they have lost to Gerald Griffins. So they reached the knockout stages last year. They were beaten by Galway in the quarter final. It was their first foray into the knockout stages for a number of years, since they were promoted, in fact. I have a sense that this one is going to be tight, but I think perhaps with a couple of county players on board, with Kildimo Pallaskenry, with their backs to the wall, they're pointless. I think they may turn the corner on this one and get their first win at this level.